The Gift, Jeanne Alford.
Thank you. Today, we're going to talk about a gift, something that we all have. It's innate. It's something we're born with. It's a skill, and it's a skill that unfortunately we don't use as often as we should. And you wonder what that could be. Well, I've got a few. But today, what I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about a scenario to kind of illustrate the gift, and then talk a little bit more in detail about it. But most importantly, I want to tell you how we can use it more effectively. And that's gift is to be present. It may sound simple, but as I said, it's an innate skill, and often we don't use it as often as we should. So today I want to talk to you about a little ditty for Jack and Diane, two young lovers. I can see a few people are chuckling because they're John Mellencamp fans. But seriously, when I was thinking of a scenario, that couple came up. Diane comes home from work one day and she plops herself down on the couch. She clearly had a rough day, and she said, "What a terrible day." Well, Jack's in another room, and he just shouts out, he goes, "I tell you, Jason from work just called. He wants us to meet him for a drink." Well, he doesn't notice. He hasn't even come out to look at Diane to see what's going on. Diane just looks at that room where Jack is, and she's like, "Are you kidding me? I just got fired." Well, the narrator in this little ditty is noticing there's a explosion that's going to happen anytime soon, because Diane has something to process, and Jack is totally unaware of her emotional situation because he hasn't even seen her. Now, we just heard Kimmy talk a little bit about relationship management, and Kimmy is an expert, and I really honor her for this. And I do believe we should have different languages sometimes. But I know that this happens more often than we want to admit. So let me ask you, have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and realized halfway through that they're talking about something completely different, something foreign to what you think they should be talking about? They're not talking about what you're talking about. It happens all the time. Literally, it does. In fact, the organization Siemens, which is an international conglomerate, I know through electronics, but they're one of those big companies. They did a study with their workforce, and this was about 10 years ago. And in that study, they found that their workforce averaged 17 hours a week trying to undo miscommunication. Now, you can imagine how that might happen. You're in a meeting, you think you're supposed to do something, but you didn't agree to it. And then your boss comes and says, "Why didn't you do it?" These things happen regularly. But if we're spending half our work week undoing miscommunication, that means we're not using our gift to be present. We're not using our gift to actually hear each other. Communication doesn't work unless it's a two-way street. I give information to you, you give information back to me, but we need to be talking about the same information. So the gift you're able to give when you actually listen. Another scenario that I like to use to illustrate this is the popular game Family Feud. When Steve Harvey gets up on the television and he says, according to 100 people survey, we asked them to tell us a word that rhymes with, and bam, you hit the buzzer. You have to answer. But you have a 99.99% chance that you're going to get it wrong because you buzzed in before the whole question was asked. So when he wants to say, what's a word that rhymes with election, you might be thinking something completely different. And that's why listening is critical to the gift of being present. Now, if you think about that Siemens study, if we start to be present and pay attention in the workforce, we become more productive. This means a lot for those of us that are solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. This could mean up to $500 million of work. That's what it means to small business. So productivity improvement through simply listening is critical. So there are ways that we can improve this, and it takes practice. And practice is probably one of the best skills that we should employ every day. But to practice listening better, we need to challenge ourselves not to interrupt hearing what's being said. We have this thing we call our mind, and in our mind, it moves fast. And when somebody starts to tell me about their opinion or their problem, I'm going to first go into my mind and say, what do I know about this? How do I react? How do I respond? What do I need to say? Oftentimes it's, how do I prove I know what I'm talking about? But you can't answer it till you hear the whole thing. So the trick is to listen to the very end, to not jump ahead before your conversation partners is finished. So what do you do to fix that? You actually start to summarize. You say, what I hear from you is. That way you're giving them the gift of letting them know they're heard. You're giving them the gift of being fully present, not worrying about yourself, because I know for many of us, we would really like the world to revolve around us, but it revolves around a lot of people in our own sphere. So by listening, we're giving the gift of being present. So the call to action is simple. It's slow down. Take a deep breath. Move from being in that fight or flight, stressed kind of brain to your frontal lobe and your logical brain. Connect with your conversation partner. Let them finish what they're saying. It's a gift. It's one you can give daily. Thank you.